Greetings folks, in this intriguing little box from Banggood we have a mini DLG discus launch glider. It has a wingspan of about 980 millimeters, so it's around about the 1 meter class. I'm a bit keen on discus launch gliders. I've had a couple of them. This is the V2 version from Hobby King. The problem with these 1.5 metre discus launch gliders is that they are very expensive. This one could cost you up around $600 at the moment. So if you want to just dip your toe in discus launch gliding, then this might be the way to do it. Let's have a look. So it could be packed a little bit better. It's for such a delicate model, it really needs decent protection because it's balsa with heat applique covering. It's a nice looking little wing though. It has the servos already in place. This is the aileron version, so 3 channel actually. There's no rudder. There's a little elevator. There also is in the box, make sure you check around, maybe taped to the side of the box, there's a little launching peg there as well. And as I said, these models are very, very delicate. They're strong in the right areas, such as the launching peg, the boom, and in the direction of the force that it's going to act, but any other direction of force, and they're very delicate, so you have to be very, very careful with them. So we have a little servo cover there that is coming off. It's just sticky taped on. So what you get is a little pod at the front, a very lightweight tapered carbon fibre boom. So these are quite strong and light, but you can crush them very easily, so you do have to be careful. The vertical stabiliser is already glued into the boom. There's no rudder on this one. The little pedestal for the horizontal stabiliser, that just hooks in and screws down, very nice and easy. Long push rods coming down the back, or one long push rod coming down the back for the elevator. Mounting posts for the main wing. Also from Banggood I have this receiver, which is a G-RX8 FrSKY receiver. That'll go perfectly with my Taranis radio, and this receiver is the combination of an XR8 with a variometer, which is perfect for any sort of thermal glider. A nice small size, that's going to fit in the pod beautifully. And we have one little servo here for the elevator in the pod. The pod just clicks in and slides backwards to lock in, as long as you don't have the wires in the way. Yeah, so the pod just clicks in and slides lock backwards to lock into place. That's all very neat, and there's plenty of space in here, more space than a lot of discus launch gliders, that's for sure. To power these things you have the option of using a 1S battery and a voltage booster, or you can use a 2S battery and a little BEC, which is what I'll probably do. From what I've read, you need to add a little bit of nose weight anyway, so I might as well just make up the weight from the battery and the receiver and the BEC. We'll see what we need anyway. Very good, I'm looking forward to this. Now let's have a look at the G-RX8 receiver, ailerons, right aileron, left aileron. I'll put the ESC in there, and the elevator. We also have S-bus and channel 8 and channel 7 down here. You have the binding and failsafe setting button and LEDs down here. So I've bound up the G-RX8 to my Tyrannus. I have a 3 amp UBEC, which is way overkill, but that's what I've got. And I have a 2S 300 milliamp hour LiPo. They all fit in pretty well, and the CG seems to be about the right spot for me. So even though these are sort of bigger than ideal, they actually balance out the model quite well. Not too sure about the CG. I think it's going to be quite a fair way back, even 50% maybe, because the wings are kind of swept back leading edge. Normally I'd start with about 30% back, but with gliders you go back a little bit further, and with a swept back wing you go back even further. So I'm guessing it'll end up around 50% back, but we'll have to fly it and try out. All the servo arms are way too long, giving throws that are way too big, probably 3 times the throws that you need for a little gentle flying DLG. So for this one I've drilled a hole right in as far as I can, and the aileron servos I will eventually pull them out and put the push rods on an inner hole, just to reduce the amount of throws, because I've got this down at 50% rates, and that is just twice the throws that you need. You're really only using tiny little amounts, and you want as much accuracy as possible, so it's best to move the push rods in so that you get the finest movements of all your servos. So there's lots of fancy programming you can do for DLGs with brakes and tiny little bits of camber and reflex and things like that for different flying modes, but with this little beginner one, I'm just going to go pretty stock standard, fly it and see how we go. First of all we need to centre up the control surfaces and make sure that control rod is locked. These are not the best quality, unfortunately. Anyway, that's a good starting point. So that's, as I said, that's at least twice the amount of throws that you need. Elevator's a bit better because I could get that further in. But again, I need to centre that up as well. Put all this in. I think it's going to be better if I actually take this case off. I'll do that. Give us a bit more space. Ah, excellent, there we go. And the battery will kind of sit up there. Let's see how that goes. Plenty of space up in the top of that canopy. There we go. So CG now is, I would say that is around about the 40% mark, which should be just about perfect, I reckon. Full up weight with battery, about 170 grams. Now we want to set up the Vario. So, as you can see, I've just got 50% rates, 30% expo on ailerons and elevator, and that's all I've got in there at the moment, and we'll play with that later on and see what we need to do. Alright, to set up the Vario, so we're in the telemetry screen. We need to discover new sensors, so let's do that. And we now have the vertical speed, altitude, RSSI, receiver battery and A2, which is an analog. Hit stop discovery. Now we need to tell us what we're going to use to make the Vario sounds, and of course we need the vertical speed for that. That should be just about right, I think. So once you've discovered the sensors, you go to the special functions page, and I've got the Vario on the SD switch. When it's in the middle position, we'll get the Vario beeps. lifting the model up, dropping it down. When it's in the down position, it'll tell me the altitude every 10 seconds.
0 meters.
There we go, we're good to go now.